Hi, I'm Keith Greeno from Acima Solutions, and I'd like to welcome you today to our webinar on Construction Operation Anywhere. Today what we want to talk about is just an overview of using the Sage Service and Operation to enhance your project management and project costing systems. And really what we're talking about is just maintaining control of a project right from start to finish. So we're going to be going through fairly quickly today, and if you would like some additional information, please give us a holler and we'd be more than happy to give you a more detailed demo. So for the agenda today, what we want to talk about is just the current industry issues affecting construction operations and how we can use the service and operation to hopefully solve some of those issues. Then we're going to be focusing just on the typical construction workflow and just dealing with it from an employee point of view, from a supervisor, foreman, project management point of view, and then from the back office integration. We're going to finish up with, is it right for you? And really it's just the cost benefit of you sitting back, determining what the benefits of putting a system like this in, and then what the cost is of the system itself, and then finishing up with questions. So to move forward then, what are the issues that are affecting the construction industry? And there's more than this, but these are really the big ones that we hear over and over again. And so we spend too much time shuffling timesheets back and forth between the back office and the job site. And really, if you're talking to any employee, none of them like to fill out timesheets. The foremen don't like them because they have to always be chasing people. This just takes a ton of time. And if you sit back, it's the time wasted by the employee, it's the time wasted by the foreman, it's the time wasted by the back office, having to put it in against the job, and the time at the back office to put it in against the payroll. So there's a significant amount of time just wasted with timesheets alone. And this is not just for employees. This is also for equipment, if you're running equipment, and tracking of subcontractors' time. Then the next one is we could have avoided doing it twice if the team had the latest plans and information. And so again, what you've got, you're building a house and someone comes in and says, hey, I want to move this wall over 6 inches. Somebody doesn't get that information, and therefore they build the wall in the wrong spot. The landlord or the homeowner comes in, takes a look at the wall and says, hey, you and I agreed that we're moving this over 6 inches. Take it down, move it over. And so all of that cost that's lost in there can end up eating up a lot of the profitability of a particular project. And then we don't always get the information on our field activity soon enough, and so we're making bad decisions. And so whether it's the total time of a job, whether it's a subcontractor that's not doing the job right. But the problem is that if we have more of the information, we're more likely to make better decisions. And this is really critical to the profitability of your companies. The next one is we cannot hold our supervisors and foremen accountable because we don't have the information. The project costing lots of times is being done in Excel or outside the systems where it's all done manually, and therefore we just don't have it until we're all done and we've got it, and it might be a month or two after the job's done until you really know what the heck's happened. Well, how do you hold someone accountable when the horse is already gone? Yeah, you might be able to correct the next job, but the problem is we want to be able to do it as things are going wrong, or if things are going right, great. But at least if we've got the information on a timely basis, we can hold our people accountable for the work that they're supposed to be doing. And then the last one, which is legal claims. And this is certainly a possibility if you're not doing daily field reports on a consistent basis. And really all it is it's like a diary on what happened for the day. But when you're doing these daily field reports, you can collect the time for the employees, the time for the equipment, the subcontractors' times. You can keep track of all of the material that's being used. And so all of that stuff is flowing into these reports. So you've got what's going on, what's happening in the job itself or at the job site, and all of that flows right into the project. So you've got this diary by day for the project. And it keeps things way more in control. So if you're going back and say, hey, what happened on July the 15th? Well, right now I have not a clue. And maybe if I went back into my schedule, I might be able to figure it out. But really, if you've got these daily field reports, you know exactly what's happening, when meetings were happening, and who was there. Okay? So let's just talk about a typical construction workflow. So a typical construction workflow kind of looks like this. And so in our current worlds, I mean, you've got your employees, you've got your office staff, you've got your subcontractors and our subcontractors, your project managers and foremen that are out there controlling things. But really what we're trying to do is tie it all together with this Sage Service Operations. And it goes straight into the back office, which is your accounting system. And you can use any particular web-based web-based system. So whether it's the BlackBerry, the Apple, the Microsoft, or the Android, it doesn't care. But really what we want to do is this, is we're trying to focus on, so when we only enter time once. And so what we're going to be doing today is just looking at it from an employee point of view. And so we're going to look at the work orders, assignments, the time entry, maybe daily field report. But this is what your field employees are actually dealing with. And then if we're looking at the back office, it's the scheduling, dispatch, project management again, project documents, time review and postings. These are the guys that are actually posting it and putting it right back into your accounting system. But we're tying it all together with this service operation system. And then at the foreman level, really, again, they're looking at the dispatching and scheduling of the job. They've got the Gantt charts. They're looking at who's supposed to be on the job when. It's all of the documentation, the transmittals that are happening, making sure that the correct revision of the plans are there. The reviewing of time for equipment and employees. Again, daily field reports. And so all of this stuff is flowing together, and we want to make sure that we've got it so that when the foreman needs the information, they're at the job site, but they got the information that they need to make the best decisions that can be made at the time, okay? And really that's what we're trying to do, is just give you a little bit more control over what's happening. So let's look at it from the employee point of view. So again, I've shown this before a couple times, but really this is your starting point, this manual field entry, and here's your typical timesheet, where someone is spending a whole bunch of time putting in the name and what job they're doing and what job number they're on and how many hours they spent and getting the sign-offs, and they're scribbling on here. And I don't know if any of you guys can read that, but really I can't. And so are they typing it in to exactly what work was performed? Are they putting it on the right job? Then the people in the back office have to understand that that was the right place, and they post it into the right place or right job so that it's costed correctly. And are the foremen signing off on this and making sure that it's correct? So it takes a lot of time for your employees to fill it out. It takes a lot of time for your supervisors to check it out and probably make corrections to this. It takes a lot of time for your back office staff to actually record it against the project into the right category and the work performed. And then it takes a whole bunch of time, again, to put it back into your payroll systems. And what we're trying to do is make this all go away. And so how the heck do we do that using this service and operation for a construction company to try to make your employees a little bit better, okay? And that's what we're doing, trying to make their lives just a little bit better, okay? So let's talk about it from this. And so we're looking at it, and every one of your employees now pretty much has got a smartphone, or you can certainly give them one. But the bottom end is that you've got this stuff available to you. And with it, what you can do is you can easily collect information out in the field on your smartphone. Doesn't matter whether it's a Samsung, doesn't matter whether it's an iPhone, because it's using web applications to access the systems, okay? But you can see, I will have a view of all of my assignments and what needs to be happening, right? I can attach notes, I can do all of that stuff, I can look up parts, and you can see over here on the next one, so this is what's happening today, and it's talking about, okay, I'm starting this particular job, and you hit the start, and it says, all right, and if you've automatically got a half an hour time charge for travel to the job, you can click on it, and it just adds it into the job, and then the guy starts working, and then they sign it off. But really, it's very, very easy for them to collect time out in the field on exactly what's going on, real time, okay? Easy access, easy to use. You want to make it so that people are going to use these systems. So let's look at it from a little bit of a different view. And so again, now let's just look at the assignments and what's going on. And so again, it's brought up, here's the day, this is what's going on. You see you've got all of the buttons on here. It's easy to use. It's a touch screen because it's a smartphone, right? But the bottom line is that we can look at this stuff. It's an application which actually can run without it being connected to the web. So if they happen to be down in a basement or they happen to be up north where there's no cell phone connectivity, the system will still work, and as soon as it becomes connected, it will upload the information back to the the service operation and then upload it to your actual back office. But while we're out here, you see, as your people are actually adding work codes, or they can dictate it in using the smart functions inside of your smartphone itself, because you can hit the little microphone button and then you can dictate the notes. But you can see I'm collecting information on the actual job, and I can actually have back office information. So I can be telling somebody what's going on in the back office. I can email this to the supervisors or the dispatchers, or maybe it's to the salespeople if there's something else that needs to be dealt with. Okay. So if you guys have listened to the other service one, this is very, very similar to your service. So you can actually run crews that are both doing service work and project work. And the projects obviously will go to your project information, and the service work goes to a service job. But the bottom end is this stuff flows very easily for your employees back into the back office so that you've got it collected one time right up front. Okay? Then if we look at it from, the tablet point of view, it gives you a little bit more real estate. But again, I mean, you've got this update, you want to complete, you want a travel start, want a break time, you can put all of that stuff in, and it's collecting it real time for your employees, and they can look at it and say, okay, this is what happened for my day. Here's my daily summary, right? So they can see exactly what they're signing off. Really what this is doing is they're that timesheet that we had back here, it's doing it real time back in there, and it's charging it straight to the job for them. Okay? Now, understand that it doesn't just stop there, because employees just don't have the ability to charge it to the job. They can put their time in, but if you've got an approval process, and we'll look at that a little bit on later on when we're talking about the foremen and supervisors, but they get to approve it. Okay? So, but you can see it makes it very easy whether they're using a tablet or our smartphone. And again, what you can do is you can also do it with this mapping. So here's all of the jobs, and you can click on them, and it's going to show up exactly in the GPS where the heck this stupid job is. Okay? So they can't get lost, or at least they're less likely to get lost. Now, maybe up north you might not have too many roads, but the bottom end is it's just trying to make it easy to use and using the technology which is easily available today in the web world. Okay? So this is from an employee perspective. So let's talk about it. Okay, let's deal with it one level up, and now we're going to talk about the foreman project managers. So really what we want to deal with is this complete project management picture. Okay? And now understand that what we're looking at right now is service and operations. There's actually another module which even goes into more detail on the project management side called Project Center, but we're only going to be addressing just project management and dealing with it from service and operation, which gives you kind of a basic electronic view of the world. And so all of these pieces, the budgeting, the scheduling, the purchase orders, the subcontractor orders, the change orders, all of that stuff is being maintained by the system, and it's giving you this overview of the overall operation. And you can see this is a service operation we're dealing with, but this is a bi-directional link so that all of the information in here is showing up in here, all the information in here is moving down into your project management system. So we're looking at this complete picture when we're talking about these systems. So let's just go to the next one, which is the supervisors now. And so I want to understand what's going on to the total job. And so what I want to do is I want to start with a bird's eye view and look at it from maybe 30,000 feet and look down and say, hey, this is what's going on with my work orders. Now maybe this is a project, or this is dealing with more service than projects right now, but it can be changed easily over to projects. But if I'm looking at all of my projects and I say, hey, this one's causing too much, I can double click on this, and it'll drill me down into the particular job and start giving me detail about what's going on. And so again, with these dashboards, what you're doing is you put in whatever metrics that you need to control, whether it's projects and hours billed and hours to budgets and all of that fun stuff, right? But what the system will do is it'll change it to red if something is wrong, okay? So you can customize these very, very much for each individual. So each project manager would probably have similar ones, but not exactly the same. Maybe your owners might have all of the projects, and your project managers would only have the jobs that relate to them, not all of the jobs, okay? So you give access to what you need to when you need it. So what these dashboards are doing is just trying to help you just deal with the critical stuff, and then it allows you to drill down to the detail if you need to only. So if we look at just another screen of the same thing, so if we start going into a little bit more detail, like we're looking at this Fort Wayne Officers Club, and we were collecting time for it back on the employees stuff. But as the employees are actually putting time into here, you see here's the total estimated hours, here's the actual hours spent, here's how much is left. So if you think about it, how can you not hold your project managers accountable, because they can see this real time as these things are being adjusted. As they're approving time, it is just showing up in these jobs in here, whether this is equipment or an employee. You'll see on the schedule over here, here's the schedule for the employees, here's the schedule for your equipment, here's the schedules for your subcontractors. So you're getting a complete view of the schedule that's going on and all of the charges that are being done right from here by doing a job lookup. So really what this is doing is giving you that view of the project and what's happening so that you can be held accountable, that you can keep track of what's going on. So now in the next screen, what we're talking about is approvals. Because you have the employees putting that time in. As I said, you don't want them putting it straight into a job unless they've got the authority to do so. But out in the field or back in the back office, it doesn't matter. But if you're back in the in the field and you're looking at it, you can bring up all your employees' time and just go, yep, I approve it, or no, I don't approve it, or no, I want to change it. Well, what this is doing is it's actually submitting it into the job, so that it shows up on the scheduling here where you've got the actual hours. It's showing up in the back office. If payroll was the next day, it would already be sitting there available for that employee to get paid. Okay? So really what this does is it's integrating with payroll, it's integrating with the projects, so all of that stuff is reported. If you're the owner of the company and you're looking at it at the back office, you're going to get exactly the same view as your supervisors are out in the field. Okay? So it's going to speed your time. It's going to certainly make things way easier to do on a daily basis. So let's just move to the next one, and we're talking about, and I apologize, this is a work order, but really this should be a daily field report. But so as I was talking about, it's that approval all the time, because on a daily field report, you would have like what's the weather, what's going on, what kind of meetings I have, what did I have with who employees, who attended the meeting, but all of the same information on what happened during the day is recorded here, and then it can be signed off daily by your customer, or maybe it's an engineer that needs to sign it off. And this is all easily done because of the touchscreen technology on tablets and on your smartphones. So this can be collected. Now, I mean, this probably would never be used on a smartphone, but it could be. I mean, I guess you could, stretch it and make them sign it. But most of the time this would be on a tablet. But tablets are getting very inexpensive now because we don't need an Apple. We can use any tablet to make it. It works exactly the same. Okay? So let's just understand, if we don't have, a tablet, or maybe you dropped your tablet or something, you see, we can still do exactly the same stuff, as I said, on a smartphone. It might be a little bit too small, but understand is that we've got the availability to do this anywhere, anytime. You'll see now we're looking at field reports, which is this daily field reports. You see the two of them here. If you drill down, doesn't matter what kind of a device you're on, but your supervisors have access anytime. Okay? And the world is changing, especially with the millennials. I mean, they tend to work on their own hours, and so maybe this guy likes to go home at night and fill this stuff out while he's watching the TV. He can, or she can. Okay, so let's go one more step and see exactly what we're talking about from supervisors, because we can embed pictures right into a project now, and so you've got the technology on the smartphone, you got it on the tablets, you go in, you take a picture of the thing. I don't know how the heck you get this high unless you're on the Eiffel Tower or something, but the bottom line is that you can get a picture of the building, you can put it in here, you can circle and say, here's the air conditioning unit that's got the problem. We're building this roof, or maybe this roof needs to be re-roofed because there was a problem with it. So we can take a look and say, hey, we're leaking right here, somebody's got to go fix it. But a picture can certainly add 1,000 words, and what it does is it allows your supervisors to look at this stuff on a real-time basis, and this is available in the project, back of the back office, and out in the field. Okay, and then more important than that is even these schematics. And so it's making sure you got the correct plans and the revision of the plans. If this wall was supposed to be built 6 inches wide and you built it 7, then you just wasted concrete. Or if it was supposed to be 7 inches and you built it 6, they're going to make you tear this wall down to make it big enough, or you're going to have to go in after the fact and try to, stiffen up this wall, it's going to cost you significantly more than if you'd done it right the first time. And so that's what we're talking about, and part of those issues in there. If we can give you the information and make sure that you've got less chance of messing up, right? We're not saying you can't, but understand that you have less chance of messing up. Things are going to get better for you, and you're going to be able to reduce down the problems for your particular projects. Again, as I was saying, this is also available on the Project Center. We're going to have another webinar on that later on, but it just goes a little bit more detail into the project management of it. This one is dealing with it on a basic level, but you can go deeper. Okay, so let's just move in, and now let's look at it from the back office. So what the heck's going to happen back there? And so really, this is what you've got. And so this is in the Sage 100 system. And so if you look at this, all that I've got circled, this is the project management information which is available in the back office. And all of this information, as we were showing back on that flow chart of the typical workflow, is all flowing in from out in the field. So whether you're entering it back in the office or entering it outside, they both see exactly the same information. So we've got the reports, the budgets, the change orders, all of the costs, the purchase orders, the subcontracts out, all of the cost to complete, all of the document controls, the transmittals, all of that stuff that you need to maintain the project and make sure that it's all going on time, on budget, and you're actually building the right building, right? So you can see all of this information. It's all at your fingertips. Here's the basic stuff which is coming up, and it's just on the hot list. And so it's just items that you've highlighted that really need to have your attention. And you can see where the project is total, how much of the approved changes. All of this stuff is monitored and tracked in here. Okay? So with this particular stuff, you see, now we can get into the project detail as well. And so let's just go a little bit deeper. So now all I've done is I've drilled into a Wood Elementary School. And so now you can see when's the plan. So plans are received, when was it signed, all of that stuff as far as a Gantt chart type flow on what's going on with your project can be in here. And so you can have all of those Gantt charts as far as what work is supposed to be done. What I've done is I've just pulled up the tab which is saying budgets, and so you see I'm looking at what's going on for total hours, what's the material, what's the labor, what's the equipment, what's the subcontractor. So all of that stuff is being maintained in these systems on a real-time basis, and you're able to see it in both directions from out in the field and back here, but this is exactly the same information. Okay? And so if we go one more step in here, and we'll just take a look at it from the invoicing side now. And so from an invoicing view, we've got all of the invoices that have been viewed or that have been generated, what they've been, whether they've been paid or not paid, right? What's the holdbacks? So if you've said on this particular customer or on this particular job that there's a 10 or 15% holdback, every time that you invoice, the system will automatically do that for you. And then when you get the engineer's release, and you can build that into the project as well, then you can bill out for this other $7,500. Okay? So all of it's being maintained inside the system, and you can certainly give you some control and flexibility over what's going on a daily basis. And so then this last one, I was talking about these daily field reports. And so again, and this would give you a better view, as I was saying, the one that I gave you was just a work order. But if you're in the daily field reports and what's going on in here, you see that it's got incidents. So whether there's an accident or something happened out on the site, we can track all of the meetings. So let's say in the morning you have a tailgate meeting where everybody that's on site comes to there and you're everywhere. All right, guys, it's a little bit icy today. It's snowing or whatever. Therefore, let's all be careful, take a little bit more time, and let's make sure that when you're talking about the incident that you can record what you said in the meeting to make sure that everybody is focused on safety. Any outstanding orders are also tracked in here. You see that this is dealing with what's going on the daily field report for employees, but I can also look at it by subcontractor, by the equipment hours, and also by units, which is the actual material being used. Okay, and you'll see that who's signed in and what date is it, back 2015. But the point being is this is giving you this daily sign off on what's going on. You'll see up here it's tracking. It was sunny, and the temperature was 66, so I guess it can't be freezing. But you get the gist on what the system is doing, and so it really gives you this daily diary of what's going on the job, and it can reduce down the lawsuits, because you guys can certainly go back and see exactly what's going on. And if they know you're tracking all of that stuff, there's no way in heck that they're going to come back and say, oh, it was my fault, right? So let's just go into the next. So you understand, we've looked at it now from an employee, we've looked at it now from a supervisor, the project manager, and now we're looking at it from the back office point of view. And you'll see that all of them are integrating back and forth. So let's talk about the real story. And so is this you with everything out of control, right? Or as this thing was just saying, it's invaluable to have a piece of equipment where you're able to look at it and see what's going on. And so this is what this guy is talking about. He's running a heavy construction company with the backhoes, and he's able to look at the schematics. He's able to see all of that stuff with his iPad or any tablet and see exactly what's going on as things are updating on a real-time basis. And it can save you thousands and thousands of dollars, okay? And besides that, paper's a pain in the neck. You tend to get drop coffee on it or something and you can't see. But that's really what the story is all about, and it's savings to your particular companies. So let's just deal with it. Is it right for you? And so what is the potential loss? What is the expense if the problem is not solved? If you keep doing things the existing way that you're doing it, so you're using QuickBooks, or you're using Simply, or you're using something which has just got poor project costing or project management information on it, what is going to happen if things go wrong? Or take a look at how much time it's taking for the employees to collect the timesheets and do them manually. I mean, we talk time and time again, no. Our people are not technical enough. They don't know how to do it. We're going to keep doing it the manual way. Well, understand is that it's costing you admin time, it's costing you employee time, it's costing a ton of time that really doesn't need to be there if you run these systems. And what are the cost implications of not having process controls in place? It's building that 7-inch wall when you need an 8-inch wall, right? And that could cost you thousands, okay? What are the potential benefits of having it in place and having the information? Well, yeah, the owner can go down to Cancun and be relaxing on a beach, and he still can take a look at his dashboards and know exactly that all the projects are under control, right? Project managers will be able to sit back and make sure that things are under control or not. And they can see things and be highlighted when things are not in control, which can save you a lot as well. And so really, if you take all of these cost benefits that we're talking about in here and then look at what the cost of putting the system is, that's where you really get a look at what the cost benefit of putting these systems in. So we get asked lots of times when we're putting this stuff and saying, oh, yeah, I've got a system, and they're going, well, how much? See, what we want to do is say, hey, don't worry about the how much. Let's deal with what kind of pains you've got and what can be solved, and show you how they're solved with these systems, and then we'll come back and take a look at how much, because then we've got something to really compare it to. Is if you don't do it, it's going to cost you money forever, and if you do it, what you're going to do is save it forever. So there can be some significant savings. I know we did one company that there was over $100,000 in savings for the company in a year, and that's pretty significant because the system itself was like $40,000. And the bottom line is that guess what? Next year, all it is the maintenance on the system, which is significantly less than that. Like I think it's about $4,000, and they're still saving that $100,000 plus. So what it can be is a big benefit to your companies and make things a little bit easier. And that's what we're trying to focus on, is just trying to make your lives a little bit easier. We believe that people deserve systems that work, right? What we try to do is we want to use technology and management best practices to make you as effective as possible, because that's where you make the most money. Understand, I mean, we keep an eye on what's going on with the new systems, and what we want to do is make sure that you're in the right system so that it's good for the long haul, and you end up with this win-win relationship between you win and we win. Yes, we certainly make money, but we want you guys making money and benefiting all the time. So I'd like to thank you for your time today, and if you would like any additional information, please contact the number below. Thanks.